right, we are back. This is ZH2, and we are joined by another very special guest right here on the Rockstar Energy Drink Metal Mayhem Festival. And we're joined by Josh, who plays bass with As I Lay Dying right now. Metal Blade recording artist. Kick-ass set you guys did, man. Fantastic energy, a lot of really cool shit. Got a chance to hear a new song. We'll get into that a little bit, but welcome to Albuquerque again.
Thanks, man.
Welcome to the ZH2 show. How you doing?
Doing great, man. The set was awesome today. It was going a little, we were seeing the weather because, the main stage got a little, the side stage got a little thrashed by the wind.
Right.
Tents flying everywhere. But once it settled down and we did our set, the crowd was awesome. And, the only thing we had to worry about is slipping on the stage. So
yeah, that's a big deal because I've seen it. Last year, there was a couple of years ago. There was a pretty big torrential rain, and I almost thought they were going to postpone or cancel the show because the stage was just getting pummeled by water. So thankfully, we didn't have no incidences like that.
Perfect. It was fine.
Right. How's the Mayhem Festival treating you guys so far?
So good. I think today was the 6th or 7th show. I can't remember. It might be our 7th show because we did another show off on one of the off days. But it's been great. Every crowd has been equally as pumped as the next, and the entire production's nice. All the bands are cool. Really couldn't ask for a better tour for the summer, I don't think.
Right. Now we saw you do a new song tonight called Cauterize, and we'll get into that and the video and all that. But let's talk about the album that's slated to come out in September as the release for As I Lay Dying's new album, correct? And it's called Awakening? Awakened, excuse me. Tell us about the album.
It's pretty cool, I think, because typically we've gone with metal producers, and on this record we went with Bill Stevenson. He's out in Denver, Colorado, at a studio called the Blasting Room. But this guy played drums in Black Flag and All Descendants. He's been in some of the most influential and famous hardcore punk bands in history. And so when we were going through thinking about what we wanted to do differently for the record, like we wanted to produce, we started thinking a little outside of what we had normally gone for. And it wasn't even because we didn't want to go with Adam D. I think at the time we just knew that Adam was going to be busy with Killswitch, and it kind of opened our minds to the idea of going a little outside of the norm. So we approached Bill, and he was into it. And I think what was the best and the most valuable thing about having Bill on board was when we were writing songs, or he wasn't really there for the writing process, but when we were kind of refining them before we did the final recordings, just having the input from someone that's not looking at it from a metal perspective, like they're not looking at a riff saying, oh, that's not shreddy enough for the Eddie Van Halen fans. He's like really just concentrating on the song and the flow of the song, which is ultimately like the most important thing for us. So It was cool to have somebody that was kind of not as well versed in what we did generally, and it was kind of like we learned from each other, as we went. So it was cool.
Legendary Bill Stevenson. I got to shout out because the Descendants have a new a documentary called Filmage coming out. And if you look at the trailer, I did an interview with them back in the day, and it's the opening part of the trailer. So I just got to plug that a little bit.
It's awesome.
It's cool, and big hero Bill Stevenson. And I like that what you're saying, that it was outside of the box, that somebody completely maybe from a different genre, but honing in on the chemistry and what you guys are doing with the band. And needless to say, he's an awesome drummer.
Oh, he's great. So we had a lot of input with just drum fills and stuff here and there. Like he'd be like, that sounds really impressive, but maybe it doesn't fit the riff and the song as well. Like maybe you could play something a little simpler, or maybe just a little different that would complement the guitar riff better. Things that you just don't really hear from a metal producer. You hear like, do the craziest thing possible, And so just even though he's not from our exact genre, the fact that he's from an aggressive style of music background, like he gets like capturing the aggression, I think, in which I think we did really well.
From what I understand, at his studios in Fort Collins, I've had some friends see him just playing drums in his studio, and he still has, like you said, a lot of that aggression that just really resonates. And as you could see when we saw you playing your set today, it was pretty much very, very aggressive and out there. It's not, and you guys have not differentiated anything. You're not doing anything that's taking you back a step. You guys are moving forward ahead.
Yeah, and on the new record, Cauterize, the first song we released, is definitely, I think it was a good taste of the record, but it's not indicative of what the entire record sounds like. As far as like, we wanted to show everyone, because we released Decus about a year ago, a little less than a year ago actually. It was just a compilation record with a few B-sides, and there was a few remixes on there, and we got a little bit of maybe a backlash from fans thinking that we were going to start putting techno elements or something into our music. I'm not really sure. So I think it was cool to like just put as Bill would state, a ball shredder. That's what he calls the songs that are like, really heavy, fast ones. Ball shredding. If there's a lot of, actual guitar playing. So
Sweet.
yeah, so we put out a ball shredder first to kind of remind people that we're still the same band. But I think we, expanded a little bit on our sound on the record.
Now, in terms of all of your albums, almost every one of them, when they've been released, are chart toppers. I mean, they go right up right away. Is there a lot of pressure in that when you're getting ready to do an album, say by the label, yourselves, people around you? I mean, what's the mindset going into that? Is there a lot of pressure on yourselves for that, or is it or do you just kind of take it as a flow?
Well, we just kind of take it. I think, the labels never really pressured us to do anything artistically that we didn't want to do. They've never really wanted to step in. I think they pride themselves on kind of just letting the band do their thing, and that's really cool for us, for them to trust us in that way. But and they've never really mentioned like, you got to do this because we want it to chart, because as important as it is for perception for them and us, I mean, you can't really expect anything nowadays with the music industry kind of up and down. So we just kind of write the record, and of course it's in the back of our heads like, man, it was really cool to be have the last 2 records go into the top 10, but it's not something that I think we are going to psych ourselves out about. Right. We think about it, obviously, because it's cool, it's a good feeling, but to know that your fans are going out the first week and really just supporting you, but it's not the goal, if that makes sense.
Now, you did a lyric video for Cauterize, and you're kind of teasing the folks with the one song. Are you going to be opening up more tracks to the audience as you go on this tour before September of the release of the album?
I think closer to the end of Mayhem is when we'll start being able to release a little more, because we're still mixing the other songs. Like, that song was actually mixed and mastered, almost a month ago now, and so the rest of the songs we're still finishing today. Like, there's mixes we're still getting from Colin Richardson over the internet that we're tweaking as we're on this tour. So it's like, once we get the full mix done and everything is in the bag, that's when we'll be able to decide how we're going to start rolling things out, because we'll probably have some cool like studio kind of footage, maybe some maybe another lyric video. We're not really sure yet, but we already shot a video for another song on the record called A Greater Foundation.
Nice.
Which is going to be like the first single, I guess you would call it. I don't know, but that's probably, I can't really say for sure, but I would think that it would probably come out around the end of Mayhem, maybe a little after that. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Formidable force. I mean, Bill Stevenson, Colin Richardson, and As I Lay Dying, man. That's huge. That's going to be a huge album. Looking forward to it greatly, man. So, there's been a lot of crazy stuff in the news. I can't go without asking you this question about Randy Blythe. Of course, we had an incident that just happened with Harley Flanagan of the Cro-Mags, which is, unfortunately, that was insane. What do you think of some of these things that are going on? Is metal just going crazy all of a sudden? Are we all losing our minds? What's up with that?
I think the Cro-Mags incident is a little more isolated. Like, that's just like kind of just sheer craziness, like crazy things happen, but that's not really the norm. But the norm, as far as like, for us, we just played an off show in Portland the other day that was not part of Mayhem. We just did our own like 500 capacity club show that was it was sold out. It was awesome, and people were getting on stage, and we in the back of our heads were just like, oh man, like, what if I trip and fall into this guy, or what if he gets hurt on stage? Because we actually, like, I don't know if you were paying attention, like about a year ago, but we actually had a similar, like a whole lawsuit kind of thing going down that we haven't talked about it in a while, just because it's like, still the trial's still on in the process for us. But it's not a new thing for people to get on stage and get hurt. Like, if you're getting on stage, if you're getting on stage, it's like, you wouldn't go onto the field in a football game. You wouldn't run and try to be part of the action on something where there's such aggression going on, so much movement. Like, it's dangerous, But I mean, that's what people are attracted to metal. Like, people who like dangerous things, metal, like, it's kind of dangerous. Like, listening to heavy, fast music, there's an element, like that. So I think it's part of the experience to get on stage in everyone's head, but you're not really thinking of the consequence when you do it. So I think these cases like Randy's, which I'm sure I have hope that everything's gonna be cool. I mean, Randy Blythe's not gonna be in jail for 10 years.
Right. Especially in an overseas jail. Definitely, we put our positive thoughts and energy to that. And yeah, it makes every band question. Even from the incident when with Dimebag Darrell and everything, it just kind of changed the nature of things. And hopefully, we don't get to a point where we're all restricted as fans and we're in just such a tight box of security that we're not going to be able to have fun. And it's always one or two losers that sometimes ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, and there's sometimes we play those shows and like we stopped doing it just because nothing ever happened, but we used to invite the crowd on stage for the last song. In some venues, like if the stage was sturdy enough, we'd be like, everyone come on stage for Confined, last song. And there's some really cool videos online of, like 100 people on stage with us, and like it's so much fun because you're like, the crowd is with us on stage. So it's like we would love it if it was in a perfect world to be able to do that, but it's not. People are going to get hurt sometimes because people are just losing their minds to the music. But
right.
I think it's important, like, in the next coming months or years, there's going to have to be some sort of like overhaul of just like the concept of concert security, because as much as it sucks, like bands can't keep touring and risking getting these huge lawsuits, because bands purchase insurance for shows, like it's part of the whole thing. We pay money out of the guarantee that we get for every show for incidents like that, if we get a lawsuit from a fan who gets hurt at the show, and for other things, for our own gear or whatever. But that's a really big reason, you take out a policy for that. And this is like getting into like weird business stuff, but just so people know,
bureaucracy and red tape.
You pay a certain amount for each show, and it depends like how much your line of insurance is how much it costs per show. But say a band like us loses a lawsuit that we're getting sued for $2 million from someone, it's going to make, like, we won't personally pay that, but our insurance per show is going to go through the roof. Like maybe it might quadruple, that, and things like that. I think is what's going to change promoters and bands' minds about getting some sort of overhaul on just like how concert security works. As much as it's going to be, probably a bum out to us because we feed off the energy of the crowd. And I just
don't want to have
we can't have that in the back of our minds always, because then we can't really play a show.
Exactly. Can't be who you guys are.
Yeah,
exactly.
That part of the show is being like violent and aggressive, and it just sucks that. It sucks that the possibility is even there for someone to get hurt, but I guess
it's a reality.
Yeah, it's a reality.
Well, Josh, thank you very much for your candor. I really do appreciate the interview. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers on ZH2 on behalf of As I Lay Dying, and what else could you say?
Thanks for listening, and if you're into the band, go pick up the record on September 25th.
There you go, Metal Blade reporting artist, As I Lay Dying. Josh, bass player, thank you very much, man. Much continued success to you, man.
Thank you very much, man.